Good day, good evening, Milwaukee Bucks fans. How does that feel? Welcome to a special edition of the Brew City Lounge. As always, I am your host, Brandon. Go ahead and follow me on Twitter at Wisco_Brandon. You can also follow the show on Twitter or Facebook at Brew City Pod. I am coming to you live from my basement after my Milwaukee Bucks just beat the brakes off the Miami Heat again. Game 2, take a commanding 2-0 series lead over the Miami Heat. And ladies and gentlemen, let's keep it 100. This game wasn't close. It was not close. Jimmy Butler was in jail. Tyler Hero was on a milk carton. The best player for the Miami Heat was Dwayne Dedmon, and kudos to him. The Miami Heat did not stand a chance tonight, and the Bucks absolutely dominated from the start. Shout out to Bryn Forbes, who came out in this game and was just absolutely electric. I believe he hit his first 5 threes, or maybe his first 4, just absolutely dominating. The Bucks win in big-time fashion, 132-98. Again, like I said, opening the show, take a 2-0 lead. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this post-game show. I'm in the Milwaukee area, and I don't know if there's a whole lot of post-game shows, so I wanted to kind of dip my toes into doing a post-game show with you guys. And maybe if there is, if there's not, who cares? I'm going to do this show after every game from here on out in the playoffs, and I hope you guys are willing to join me. And if you're dropping comments in, again, we're live out on Facebook, out on Twitter, out on YouTube. If you want to jump in this, I'll send you the link. We can talk Milwaukee Bucks. This is what it's all about. We got a couple comments into the section. Rhino hops on. Noah's hopping on. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Again, Bucks win big time, 132-98. Again, from the start, it was not close. The Bucks came out and they put their foot right on the Miami Heat's throat. Again, guys like Bryn Forbes. And give it up for Pat Connaughton. Again, we like to ride this guy. We like to kind of make fun of him at times. Pat Connaughton had a phenomenal game, 19 minutes, and he scored 15 points. I believe he was 4 or 5 from the 3-point range. Just a real good game for him and just for the whole team. I mean, really, you're talking from top to bottom. Giannis, 31 points in 31 minutes. We're going to get to the leading scorers here. Giannis drops 31, 13 rebounds. Chris Middleton, not necessarily his best game, but it didn't need to be. He only had 17 points. Drew Holiday follows up with a monstrous double-double, 11 points, 15 assists and 7 rebounds. Bryn Forbes, 22 points in 20 minutes. Like I said from the start, guys, this was just an absolute domination. Now, going into this series, we were a little worried about this team. I know a lot of us on Twitter, on Facebook, local people, worried about this Miami Heat team just because of the way that they play the Bucks and they defend this Bucks. As my boy Jake drops into the comments, this ain't the bubble anymore. It's just not. This is a different environment, a different setting. Look, guys, this is a different team, quite frankly. I mean, to be quite honest with you, this is not the same Bucks team that was in that bubble last year. You do not have guys like Sterling Brown, DJ Wilson, Kyle Korver, Marvin Williams taking up minutes. No. You got Bryn bench. Guys needed to hit shots, and they absolutely did. This when Giannis is driving to the hole and you got guys open, they need to hit their shots and need to. So they are finally hitting those shots in big moments, and when they need it the most. Bryn Forbes is coming off the bench and lighting up the Miami Heat. Chris Middleton's going to continue to do what he does. We know what Drew's going to do. He's going to be consistent as they come. You're talking 11 points, but 15 rebounds and 15 assists and 7 rebounds. Just absolutely phenomenal game out of him. And again, this is not the bubble. These guys this is a different team, and it's exciting to see. it kind of come to fruition. We kind of knew when the Milwaukee Bucks went out to get Drew Holiday that this is what they were going to get into. He was going to come out, in the playoffs and show why the Bucks went out to go and get him. Again, no offense to Eric Bledsoe, but the upgrade is monumental. So let's dive into a little bit of the game. Again, this is the post-game show on the Lounge Room Network. I am your host, Brandon. Follow me on Twitter at Wisco_Brandon. Please follow the show on Facebook, on Twitter, subscribe on YouTube at Brew City Pod. This was a game, again, from the start to finish, just an absolute domination. The Bucks go out in the first quarter and they drop 46 points. Now, watching that game, we've seen this before with the Milwaukee Bucks come out and they're just hitting every shot and just on fire. Scoring 46 points, 18 to 25 from the field goals and from the 3-point range. Just they set it from the start, 10 to 15 in the first quarter on 3-pointers allowed. They doubled what they scored in game one. You knew the Bucks from game one shooting 5 of 31 was not going to be something that was going to continue in game two. You knew that they were eventually going to right the ship. And guess what? Winning game one, shooting 5 for 31 is absolutely phenomenal. And I think that, again, credit goes to Mike Budenholzer. If we're going to sit here and rag on him as much as we do, the guy deserves a little bit of credit for the things that he does do. And he's made a few changes. These guys are playing a lot more minutes. His rotations are a lot better. At one point during the game, there was not one of the big three, Giannis, Drew, or Chris Middleton. But other than that, he's staggering these guys' minutes on top of each other. And it's great to see the Bucks kind of even up in the second half the second quarter with the Miami Heat, scoring 32 to 31 in the second quarter. But they go into that half leading 78 to 51. And it was one of two things that was going to happen going into that third quarter. The Bucks were either going to continue to do what they were doing, or the Miami Heat, as tough as they are, as well coached as they are, strategically, they were going to come out with a better game plan. But the Bucks just continued to keep the foot down. Again, outscoring the Miami Heat in that third quarter, 29 points to 27. Look, back to the halftime. When you look at the box score, the Bucks only shot 4 free throws to the Miami Heat's 17. And I'm going to get to my issue with these NBA officials in a minute. My mom drops a comment, "Go Bucks." Yes, Mom. Absolutely right. No, don't even bother commenting. I'm not going to read your comments. It's not even worth it. Giannis is a better number one than anybody in the NBA. Don't even try to get me going tonight. But going into the half, Bucks only shot four free throws to the Miami 17. But here's where the difference was in the game. Giannis was great. Chris Middleton was okay. Drew was, as he always is. The bench scored 33 points in that first half. That's what the tipping point in this game was, in my opinion. A guy like Bryn Forbes. Yes, we know Bryn can shoot. This was the Bryn Forbes game that we were looking for. We were looking for him to come off the bench, be that spark plug, and just dominate when he was able to dominate and get those open looks. It was one of my keys going into the series. Guys got to hit their shots. They got to hit their shots. And they did. They absolutely did. Jeremy drops in a comment, Bucks killed that supposedly great Spoelstra D. They absolutely did. And look, game one was a struggle. In game one, you left, there was a lot of Bucks fans leaving that game one like, man, I don't know. And I'm like, look, the Bucks aren't going to shoot this bad. Probably, I don't want to say ever again, but the chances of them shooting this bad multiple games in this series are probably slim to none. You were going to probably have a game or two where you not shoot as great, but they were going to find the rhythm, and they absolutely did. Again, that first half, 33 bench points, 31 rebounds for the Milwaukee Bucks. Again, just a first half domination, which absolutely led to a second half coast. Guys, I just came down to watch, get ready for this post-game show and saw that, guys like Sam Merrill and Jordan Wara and Mama Didi Dakite were in there. That's great. Elijah Bryant got some run. It was great to see some of the starters get pulled off and kind of coast into what's going to be a fight in game 3. Miami's going to come ready. I believe they're at 80. or 85 or something like that % for fan capacity. So they're going to come in ready to play. But again, this is the Bucks team that we know. We have not seen the consistency all year. We have not been able to see all year what this team can do night in and night out consistently. We haven't seen a lot of games where these guys have all played together. That's a big deal. That's a big deal when guys are not all in the rotation together. Drew missed a lot of time. We know Giannis missed a few weeks with the knee injury. So getting these guys, run together in this first round, I like that the Milwaukee Bucks drew the Miami Heat in the first round because it's a test right away. Number one, you're going to get physical. It's going to be a physical fight. You already know it. Miami's going to come to play. They're going to come to, again, we saw it tonight, how chippy it got because they were getting their ass kicked. So, and I'm going to get to the Miami Heat in a minute. I like that this matchup was drawn first for the Milwaukee Bucks. And I know Mark Lazary went off on the record or was quoted as saying he wanted this matchup as well. Mentally, this Bucks team needed this opponent. They needed to get over what was haunting them since October. What was it? Since last August, whatever the bubble was, the little fake championship that the Lakers won. And we'll get to LeBron James too at the end of the show because I got a few words for my buddy LeBron James. But I like that the Milwaukee Bucks did get this opponent because it was a challenge right from the start. You weren't going to coast and beat Detroit or Orlando 4-0, 4-1. You're not going to get anything out of that. You're getting ready in that second round. If the Bucks do advance, I hope that they do. I think that they probably will. But you want to get ready to play what I think is probably going to be the Brooklyn Nets. So having a first round opponent like the Miami Heat, getting the Bucks ready. Look, Miami Heat presents a lot of challenges, guys. That the 5th rated off defense in the NBA last year. This Bucks team just went out and dropped 132 points. I mean, the team has it. They're able to sustain that throughout this course of this game. Again, all I've been hearing, I talked to David Rommel from the Locked On Heat podcast, the Locked On Network, and he said Jimmy's locked in. There's something different about Jimmy. There's absolutely something different about Jimmy. There's absolutely some. It's called Drew Holiday and PJ Tucker. That's what's wrong with that's what's wrong with Jimmy Butler. I mean, just absolutely got him locked down. Again, Bucks just absolutely win big. I'm going to get to a few of your guys' comments here. Bears Fanatico 94 drops in a comment live from the Deer District. It is electric. This city is hyped for the Bucks. I could not agree more. We need this in Milwaukee. We need this in Wisconsin. It's great to kind of see it all come to fruition, and hopefully this team is ready for a long playoff run. Jake drops a comment. Here's the key. Take Miami's first punch game 3. They will come out quick. And now we'll get in. We'll break down a little bit of game 3 towards the end of the show. I agree with you. Miami's going to come out. There's going to be something that they're going to be changing. There's going to be a lot of changes. I think Spoelstra goes with starting in game 3. And look, to be honest with you, game 3 is their do or die game. That they don't win game 3. Obviously, we know what it's like to come back from a 3-0 series. It's very rare. So I do think that game 3 is you're going to see every bit of Miami's team out there. You're going to see every punch, every kick, everything that they got to offer. My buddy on Title Town Lounge, Sports Talk Rhino, drops a comment. They needed a tough opponent in the first round. Get on a roll right away. To me, you're absolutely right, Rhino. I agree that you needed that tough opponent. Mentally, you needed this opponent, though, because it's a team that not only did you lose to in the bubble last year, again, this is not the bubble, but a team that you did lose to last year in the bubble. Mentally, you needed this team. You needed to play this team in the bubble. You needed to show mentally that you were tough enough to understand that, okay, yes, we lost last year in the bubble. A gentleman's sweep. Miami won that series 4-1, eventually gone on to lose the NBA Finals. But the bubble was just, I'm trying to look for the nicest way to say this. The bubble was just not real. I mean, it was not NBA. Again, credit to the NBA. They did what they could in the short amount of time that they could. The bubble was not a championship setting, not a playoff setting. You're talking about, light lit court, no fans, hotels, just a weird overall setting. So not that the Bucks, not that the Miami Heat were, a slouch and they didn't deserve to win. They obviously were playing on even surfaces, but the bubble suited the Miami Heat last year, in my opinion. So I think that, this year, obviously you get a little bit different taste. Now the Bucks do have 50% capacity. I don't have a number for the fans that were in the stands tonight, but they were electric. It was fun to kind of get the chants going again. The "You suck" refs, the MVP chants. It was fun to see. My boy Jeremy White drops in a comment. He's checking us out on Facebook. Again, follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Brew City Pod. I go live on all three of those platforms, including YouTube. So hop on there and check us out. He says home team always comes out with energy in Game 3. Got to take them initial blows. We're going to get to that Game 3 preview this week with the show starting tomorrow. But yes, I agree with you. It's going to be a dogfight in Game 3. It got chippy in this game, and I think the refs did a pretty good job calling the game that they did today. Now, don't get me wrong. We'll get to a little bit more of the Heat stuff. There's things that they could call that they should call, and they consistently don't. But we'll get into that in a little bit. But again, Bucks win big time, 132-98. I want to know what your guys' thoughts are on this Bucks team going into Game 3. Now, I know we're all on a high right now. The Bucks dominated the Miami Heat. They won by 34 points, but you're not going to probably be able to shoot this well in Game 3, especially Miami. The Bucks historically have struggled in Miami. So going forward, I want to know what your guys' thoughts are on this Bucks team. I know tonight was an absolute monster win. Look, the Bucks won both of these games in two different ways. The two different ways that they've won this game. The Bucks did not get the calls in Game 1. Absolutely did not. You can take the homer out of me. You can take the fandom out of me. You can pull a random person off the street and watch this game, and they can sit there and tell you that this game is not being reffed in the same capacity that it should be. It was hideous, to be honest with you. Obviously, the Bucks shot horrible in Game 1, 5 out of 31 from three-point range. They sneak out of there with a big win. Credit to Chris Middleton. I didn't do a post-game show for Game 1, but my God, what a big shot. That was Kobe-esque. That raise in that mid-range 17-footer, it was Kobe-esque to knock it out, knock it in and take Game 1, a game that you did not play your best game in. You didn't play your best defense. You didn't get the calls that you should have got, or you got too many calls. And again, struggled to shoot the ball, and you struggled to score. Again, my 3 keys to the Bucks winning this series. Again, the guys have got to hit their shots. They got to. You've got to understand that Giannis is going to draw a crowd. He does it. We all know this. Eric Spoelstra knows this. Mike Budenholzer knows this. Chris Middleton. They all know. Everybody knows. It's going to come down to guys hitting their shots. And if they're not hitting their shots, this offense is going to struggle. So again, you saw tonight what happens when guys hit their shots. Now, was Bryn Forbes going to go out there and drop 22 points in 20 minutes? Maybe not. But maybe he drops 15 points. He needs to be able to be at threat to hit those shots in key moments, especially in transition. So again, guys got to hit their shots. Jrue Holiday. I said it from the moment I started this podcast about a month and a half ago. Jrue Holiday. If Jrue Holiday had gone to New York or Brooklyn or LA, maybe even Miami, that would have been the number one free agent signing or trade breaking news in the NBA offseason. I mean, Jrue Holiday, because of where he's played. Now, this guy was a one and done at UCLA. Then he goes to Philly, gets nothing out of Philly, and gets sent down to New Orleans. Now, we know what New Orleans basketball is. Noah, who's dropping into the comments, he knows what New Orleans basketball is. It's non-existent. Nobody wants to play basketball in New Orleans. I don't even know why they have an NBA team. But so he gets abused down in New Orleans, gets sent up to Milwaukee, and you can see the difference that Jrue Holiday makes on a team like the Milwaukee Bucks with a real MVP, the Defensive Player of the Year award. And oh, by the way, you go out and get PJ Tucker, who absolutely put Jimmy Butler on a milk carton tonight. between him and Drew Holiday, I mean, absolutely put Jimmy Butler on a milk carton. He had nowhere to be found. Nowhere. 10 points for Jimmy Butler. He had his worst plus or minus in his whole career in that first half at minus 32. This is a guy that's supposed to be locked in, ready to go, willing to do whatever it takes. 10 points, 4 assists, 2 rebounds. He played 32 minutes. PJ Tucker locked his ass down. Drew Holiday locked him down. That's what the difference is with this team versus last year. You got guys that are locking people down. Jimmy Butler was being guarded last year by Marvin Williams and Kyle Korver and maybe Wes Matthews. This ain't the bubble, baby. This ain't 2020. This team is different. They're better. They defend better. The leading scorer for the Miami Heat tonight was Dwayne Dedmon. I mean, honestly, without Dwayne Dedmon, this Miami team probably loses by 50. The guy kept them into the game. Almost had a double-double with 19 points and 9 rebounds. A couple of those were offensive rebounds where he got a second chance putback. Or else you're looking at probably a 50-point loss by the Miami Heat. Don't come at me about this team not being better than last year. It's completely different. Completely different. Drew Holiday is the best two-way player in the NBA. It's not a comparison. There's not a person. I don't want to hear about Ben frickin' Simmons. He's garbage. It's Drew Holiday. He's going to lock your best player down, and he's going to score 20 points a game and give up 15 assists a game. And if not, he's going to be pretty darn close. PJ Tucker. People were complaining about the PJ Tucker signing. Oh, well, what are you going to do with PJ Tucker? Well, all he did was completely bully Jimmy Butler. The only thing I see about Jimmy Butler is the photo that's going on Twitter with him holding the ball with his arms all, racked out. Cool. Dwayne Dedmon's leading your team in scoring. Andre Iguodala, great career, dude. Like, go retire. I mean, it's great to see again that this Bucks team is turning into what we thought they were going to turn into. Jake drops a comment. Middleton took 5 shots and we won by 34. Again, that's what we're talking about when we are going on Twitter and Facebook and we're talking about Drew Holiday upgrade over Eric Bledsoe. I like Eric Bledsoe. I respect him. I hope he's doing well. He's not on the same level as Drew Holiday. He's just not. I got to give a shout out to my friend Marianne as well. Nice. Glad I got this notification. Love your decor. We actually became friends over Facebook Marketplace. She sold me something. We've become good friends. And she drops in a comment. Thank you for tuning in, Marianne. I hope you are doing well. I hope the new apartment is treating you well. It's good to see you. Thank you for tuning in so much. Again, this is what happens when you upgrade your roster, completely flip it over from last year. This is not the same team. Credit to John Horst. Credit to Mike Budenholzer. We want to rag on Mike Budenholzer a lot, and sometimes he brings it upon himself, and it's fair. It's fine. Guys, I think for maybe 2 minutes, this dude didn't have one of the big three players on the court at the same time. That's huge. That's absolutely huge. It's a different team. You're not going deep into your bench. You're not going 11, 9, 10, 11 deep. It's a shorter rotation. Bobby Portis, again, comes out to just play the game. Right there at the face of whoever it was that I think it was Dedmon. I could be mistaken. It was somebody after he had a hard foul on Giannis. There's Bobby Portis. Again, he had 11 points coming off the bench. Again, we can sit here and look at all the positives, and this is going to be a positive show. Because as much slack as this guy gets on Twitter and on Facebook, Pat Connaughton came to play. Say what you want about Pat Connaughton. He came off that bench and dropped 15 points in only 19 minutes and hit his first 3-3-pointers in that second quarter that just run a run away from them. This team's different. This team's just a little bit different. There's something different about playoff basketball. Number one, as we know, there's something different about playoff basketball. Number two, this is the team that we've been looking for all year. This is the team, and they can hit their shots. And as you saw it tonight, PJ Tucker had a big shot, corner three. That's what he's going to do. I don't care if it's one a game. That's all we need. The guy's locking Jimmy Butler down. Jimmy Butler is a perennial all-star. He's locking him down. I don't care if PJ Tucker has 3 points. You see people on Twitter freaking out about him not scoring a ton of points. That's fine. We don't need PJ Tucker to be coming off the bench scoring 10 points. He's doing what he's supposed to be doing. Dante, although he scored quick 5 points and that's all he finished with, he looked a little bit better tonight than he did in game one. Again, for Dante, I think it's all about confidence, getting him going on the right foot, developing that confidence as the series goes on. And as the playoffs go on, you hope that he plays a little bit bigger of a role. I do, however, want to see a little bit more Jeff Teague. I don't know if there's something going on with that. If somebody's in the live chat, in the live feed, maybe let me know if you know something I don't know. Again, we are currently live on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube, at Brew City Lounge, at Brew City Pod. Check us out. I kind of want to see a little bit about Jeff Teague and see why he didn't get any run. I don't think he even played at all. He got no run at all. So maybe there's something going on there with Jeff Teague that I'm unaware of. But again, as I said before, Bucks win in big fashion, 132-98. Giannis leading the way with 31 points, 13 rebounds. Again, Mike Budenholzer did a pretty good job. You would have thought Giannis played a little bit more than 31 minutes. To see him only play 31 minutes. Now, I know at the end of that game there, with about the 6 or 7 minute mark, all the starters did come out. But to see Giannis only play 31 minutes and to win by 34, Middleton only took 5 shots, you guys. The guy that hit the game winner in game one and kind of kept you alive there at the end in that overtime only scored 5 points. And tonight only only attempts 5 shots and only scores 17 points. And you absolutely dominate the Miami Heat. And I think this was a message game. And maybe I'm being a little dramatic, but I think this is a little bit of a message game that the Bucks are sending to the Miami Heat. Like, this is not the bubble, boys. It's just not. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say the Bucks are going to sweep the Miami Heat. I do think the Miami Heat probably win a game, maybe 2. Again, Bucks have historically struggled in Miami. Going down there is going to, as it always is, be a fight. Saturday's game is a day game. They, like they showed last weekend, struggle historically with day games. So it'll be interesting to see how this team responds in game 3. I think we know how the Miami Heat are going to respond, as we have known how Eric Spoelstra coached teams respond, down in a series. They're going to come out ready to fight and protect their home court, as they should. But I did say I did want to get a little bit to the officials, and it's a little bit of a venting therapy session for me. And again, I'm not a guy that's going to sit here and tell you that, officials, the Bucks don't get calls and it's just not fair. But I don't think it's necessarily fair. I think that, again, every single time that Miami has the ball, Bam Adebayo is setting a moving screen. Now, maybe I'm crazy and I'll go back and rewatch the game. I could probably tell you about 15 times that Bam Adebayo is setting a moving screen. Now, by the rules of the NBA, your feet are not supposed to move. This guy is consistently sliding his feet to take off that defender so that Duncan Robinson, who has the most punchable face in the NBA, all I want to do is punch the dude. I can't stand Duncan Robinson. All he does is peel off that wall that Bam is setting, that screen that Bam is setting, and gets off his shot. It's a moving screen. He's putting out his elbows and he's sliding his feet every single time. And I don't understand how, if I'm Mike Budenholzer, how I continue to let that go. I mean, if you got to run out on that court and scream at an official and get a technical, then do it. I just feel like every single time, I shouldn't say I feel like, every time that Bam is down there on the court, he's getting a moving screen. There's a moving screen. And this is not me clamoring for the officials to, say that the Bucks don't get any calls. The Bucks get their share of calls. Again, the officials had a good game today. I thought they had a pretty good game. There's always going to be calls that are 50-50. You're always going to get a guy, that, Middleton got called for a three. I don't know what you're supposed to do in the NBA anymore when guys are shooting. They say you got to give them room to land. Well, then how do you defend them? Like all he did was had his hands up and kept his feet exactly where they were prior to him taking off on that shot. Now, if the shooter sticks his feet out, what is Middleton as a defender? What is he supposed to do? So again, it's going to be a fight. It's going to be chippy in game 3. The officials are going to probably have to determine that game pretty early and call it pretty close. And it's going to be ticky-tack, and that's exactly what Miami wants. But I think that, number one, Bam setting moving screens, and number two, Dragic every time. Now, just if you don't pay attention to it, watch it in the next game. Dragic, every time he drives to the hoop, his elbow he's pushing off with his off arm. He's a lefty, so it's going to be his right elbow. I'm going to tell you right now, I'll put $20 on it. Every single time the dude drives, he's pushing off with that elbow. And it never gets called. Never gets called. So I want to not sit here and say that the officials need to do a better job. If you're going to call Giannis for the most ticky-tack crap that I've ever seen, it takes LeBron James 80 seconds to get up off the ground after he pokes his eye out. But you're going to call this simplest thing on Giannis. Chris Middleton in game 1, where they called the Bobby Portis came driving in, and they said Chris Middleton held his guy. Come on. Come on. Are we really? But then the most obvious stuff, that we're not calling. Bam is not an offensive tackle for the Miami Dolphins. He plays for the Miami Heat. If his feet move while he's setting a screen, that is an illegal screen. It is an offensive foul. Call it, NBA. Mike Budenholzer, make them call it. If I'm the Bucks video editor, I'm sitting down and I am sending a 40-minute video, because that's probably how many screens he's set, and send him to the NBA and check this out, because the dude is consistently setting illegal screens. And it drives me nuts because it's going to hurt somebody. And knowing the luck of the Milwaukee Bucks, it's going to hurt Giannis or Chris Middleton or Drew Holiday, because it happens every game. I would say probably every time that that Bam is on the floor, he is setting an illegal screen somewhere. So that's my vent. That's my therapy session on the Miami Heat. Again, free throws. You're going to tell me that the team like a Milwaukee Bucks, who scored 132 points, got more fouls called on them than the Miami Heat. Miami Heat went to the free throw line, let's see here, 35 times to the Milwaukee Bucks 20. Now, they didn't hit them very well, but they only shot 68% from the free throw line. Credit to the Milwaukee Bucks, 90%, 18 out of 20. Absolutely phenomenal job getting to the line as many times as they did. It wasn't a whole lot, but knocking them down. Giannis hit some big ones in key moments. So, again, we as a Milwaukee fan, everybody likes to be like, oh, don't blame the officials. It's not the officials. Unfortunately, sometimes it can be. And sometimes, they have a say in what happens. Now, a lot of these fouls are ticky-tack, and they're very, it seems like every call is an offensive foul when Giannis is driving to the ball. But if Jimmy Butler does it, it's a charge. Or if Dragic does it, it's blocking. PJ Tucker's sitting there with his feet planted, and Jimmy Butler drives right into his chest, and it's nope. I don't know. It's something as a Milwaukee Bucks fan we've kind of, unfortunately, have grown accustomed to, but we don't like it because clearly it's one-sided. When you're talking about the Milwaukee Bucks being the home team, having more shot attempts, more three-pointer attempts, more field goal attempts, more points and getting to the line 15 less times than the Miami Heat did. Bucks with 46 points in the paint to the Miami Heat's 40. Again, you can account 50% of that for the Miami Heat to Dwayne Dedmon. Dude just absolutely was their best player today by far. And then we can get to what I was just talking about with the personal fouls. The Milwaukee Bucks had 25 personal fouls to the Miami Heat's 11. Yeah, right. I mean, that's comical. That's no. I mean, come on. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm looking too much into it, but it just seems like that is just way too much. It happened in game one as well. You had guys local media guys, going on Twitter and putting on, video clips, and they're like, how is this a foul call on the Milwaukee Bucks? So it's not just us. We're seeing it throughout, the national media as well. We're going to get to a few of your guys' live comments, and then I'm going to dip out of here. Jake gets into a comment. He's got a question. How is Miami's confidence now? Have roles switched? 5-0 against the Heat this year, beaten by 49 and 34. They're not 5-0. The Miami Heat did beat us. They won one game. I believe it was the first game. I believe it was in December. Well, they had that back-to-back in December, I believe. The Milwaukee Bucks did lose one game to the Miami Heat. I believe it was in December. Again, check me if I'm wrong, but I do believe that the Miami Heat did beat us one game. I do think that it's going. You're going to see the Miami Heat's best punch probably in that first 5 minutes. In that first 5 minutes, if the Bucks are able to sustain that, they're going to go on a run. Again, guys that carried Miami Heat last year in that fake bubble, Tyler Hero, nowhere to be found. Jimmy Butler in jail. Bam Adebayo, Brook Lopez, credit to him. Again, we rag on these guys, but they have just been phenomenal in these first two games. Brook Lopez is also locked down Bam Adebayo. He's absolutely completely locked him down. Bam's going to get his. He's an all-star, but he only played 30 minutes, only had 16 points. I mean, that's pretty darn good for Brook Lopez. And again, Duncan Robinson, a guy who has the most punchable face in the NBA probably ever, with only 10 points in this game. Again, game one, he had 9 points, I believe, in the first 10 minutes. So it was good to see Duncan get shut down. Again, to Mike Budenholzer's credit. My first point on how the Bucks are going to beat the Miami Heat, I put down Mike Budenholzer versus Eric Spoelstra. We know that Eric Spoelstra is going to make adjustments. He always does. But we also know that Mike Budenholzer does not. So I wanted to see what that difference was going to be with that coaching. You knew what Spoelstra was going to do. He consistently coaches tough against the Milwaukee Bucks. I wanted to see what Mike Budenholzer would do, because for the longest time, he goes deep into his rotations, and now he is shortening that up. Again, in game two, we saw Jimmy Butler get shut down between PJ Tucker and Drew Holiday. Giannis was on him a few times. Mike Budenholzer, I think, caught the Heat off guard in that game one by putting Giannis on Jimmy, kind of threw him off a little bit, I think, in game one. So again, he's making, a little bit of adjustments. He's switching these guys on defense a lot. You're catching guys on Jimmy Butler, on Goran Dragic, on Duncan Robinson. Drew Holiday was on Duncan Robinson for a period of time. It's little bit of changes here and there that we're seeing with this Milwaukee Bucks team, with this coaching staff. So it's positive to see. It's good to see. Game three, again, you kind of want to lean towards the home team with game three. Again, we're going to break it down on my show tomorrow. Guys, if you are on the live feed tomorrow, I'm super excited. I am going to be joined by Milwaukee Bucks basketball legend, the original Mr. Buck, John McLaughlin, is joining me. It's a little bit of an earlier show. We're going to kick off about 2:00. I'm super excited to get his thoughts, just to talk to him, to be honest with you. I'm kind of nervous, to be honest with you. It's a guy that I grew up. I think a lot of us around my age grew up, and that's the only guy we know calling games on the NBA, on the Fox Sports Wisconsin broadcast. It's going to be awesome to get his thoughts and what it was like to play with Kareem and guys like Big O and, Hubie Brown, and see what he thinks about this team and the chances they have, and how he feels about Giannis, and is Drew Holiday turning into not Big O, but is he turning into a little bit of what Big O was for that team? And so we'll dive into that tomorrow. Again, that's tomorrow at 2:00 Central. If you can be there live, be there. You'll hear him live. If not, I will have it up on Spotify, Google, Apple, wherever you get your podcast later that afternoon. So that's tomorrow's show on the Brew City Lounge. Excited to get that rolling. Before I go, I do want to give a shout out to our sponsors, One Call Technology, Fanatics. Thank you guys for sponsoring the show and making this all possible. If you guys are in the live chat, Noah, I see all of your comments. If I put them up here, you're going to end up starting a fight with a few people. But Noah, thank you for tuning in. Jake, appreciate you. Jeremy, let's see who else I got here. My dad's on here. My mom's on here. Shout out to them. Love you guys. Thank you guys. Rhino, Juan, thank you guys for tuning in. My goal is to do this after every playoff game from here on out. I think that there might be a little bit of shifting here and there with the day games. I for whatever reason, the first round has a few day games in it, which is kind of annoying. I believe the Bucks play again. Would they play Thursday, and then I think it's Thursday, and then they would play Saturday, or if it's Wednesday and then Saturday. So we'll be back here to talk about Game 3. I'll break down Game 3, probably Game 2 as well tomorrow with Johnny Mack. Also look ahead to Game 3, get his thoughts on Game 3, where the series could go, what he thinks is going to happen with that game. Thank you guys again for all of you that are on the live feed, for all of you that support the show in any capacity that you do. So much appreciated. You guys have no idea what it means to me. If you're sharing it on Facebook, if you're liking a post on Facebook, you're retweeting something, all of it means the absolute world to me. This has been a dream of mine, and it's fun to be living it with you guys and talking about our favorite teams. As always, that is the Milwaukee Bucks, as they win big time tonight, 132-98, and they take a 2-0 series lead over the Miami Heat. Stay tuned for us on Twitter. I am your host, Brandon. You can go ahead and follow me on Twitter at Wisco_Brandon. Don't not forget to follow the show on Twitter, on Facebook at Brew City Pod. Also subscribe on the YouTube channel at Brew City Lounge. I will see you guys again on Tuesday. Have a great evening. I believe Aaron Rodgers is getting ready to talk, so maybe this night will turn out good. I think the Brewers just won. The Brewers did just win, so it's been a great night for Milwaukee. So Brewers win, Bucks win. Have a great night, Milwaukee. Talk to you guys soon. Talk to you tomorrow. Johnny Mack, don't be there or be square. Have a good night.